Hello, and welcome to my channel. I want to ask you something. Have you ever known the English words, but when it's time to speak, your brain feels slow? Like you understand everything, but still can't speak fast? Maybe you feel like your brain is stuck between two languages. You hear English, but first, you have to change it into your own language. Then, you think of a reply. Then, you change that reply back into English again, and by the time you speak, it feels too late. I know that feeling very well, because it happened to me too. But something changed. I learned a new way. Not just to speak English with my mouth, but to think in English with my brain. Step by step, I trained my thoughts to stop using my first language and start using English. And when that happened, everything became easier. Speaking became faster. I didn't need to translate anymore. My brain started living in English. In this video, I'm going to show you how I did it, one step at a time. This journey changed my life, and if you stay with me till the end, it might change yours too. Chapter 1. Not just learning, but living in English. When I started learning English, I thought I was doing everything right. I had a notebook full of vocabulary words. I watched English videos every night. I read simple English stories. I followed English pages on Instagram. Every day I told myself, you're learning, you're improving. And yes, in some ways I was. I knew more words than before. I understood more sentences than last month. But still, something felt wrong. Every time I had to speak English, I got nervous. My brain felt slow. I had to pause. I had to think. I had to translate. First, I heard the English sentence. Then, my brain quickly changed it into my language. Then, I thought of a reply. But my reply was in my language again. So I had to change it back into English before I spoke. This whole process took time. It made me feel tired and shy, and most of the time, I just smiled or stayed quiet. I told myself, maybe I need more words. Maybe my grammar is still weak. So I kept studying harder. But one day, I realized something that changed everything. It was a normal afternoon. I was walking home, and a tourist stopped me and asked, "Do you know where the train station is?" I knew all the words. Do you know? Train station. These were not new for me. But still, I froze. My brain started doing the same old job. Change to my language. Think, translate back, speak. But before I could finish, the man had already walked away. I felt sad and frustrated. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why was this still so hard for me? Then, something hit me. I remembered what one of my teachers said a long time ago. She said, "Fluency is not about speaking fast. It's about thinking in English." At that time, I didn't understand her. But now, I did. I finally saw the real problem. My brain was still living in my first language. I was trying to speak English, but my thoughts were still using my mother tongue. I was building a tall English house, but I was using old materials from another language. That's when I realized I wasn't really living in English. I was only learning it from the outside. I was looking at English like a student, not like a person who lives in it. My brain was trying to survive in two different worlds, one for learning one for real life, and they didn't connect. I asked myself a serious question. What if I could change the language inside my head, not just the words I say out loud, but the quiet words I say to myself? When I wake up, when I think, when I feel something. I noticed that when I was brushing my teeth, I said in my mind, I have to hurry or I'll be late. But I said it in my native language. When I saw a beautiful tree, I thought, wow, that's nice. But again, in my native language. English was not part of my private world. It was only for school or for practice. That night, I made a promise to myself. I said, Scarlett, from now on, try to live in English. Not just outside, inside too. And this was the first big step. I didn't know exactly how to do it. It felt scary, even strange, but I was tired of feeling stuck. I wanted to break free from the habit of translating every thought. I wanted to speak without fear. I wanted English to become natural for me, not something I needed to force. I realized something powerful. Learning English is not only about books or grammar or vocabulary. Those things are important, yes. But real fluency begins in your brain. It starts with the quiet little voice inside your head. The one that speaks to you when no one else is around. That voice must start speaking English too. If you can change that, everything else becomes easier. Speaking, listening, understanding, they all become faster, smoother, and more natural. And that's where the real journey begins, not on a page, but inside your own mind. Chapter 2. Watching your thoughts like a mirror. After I made the decision to start thinking in English, I didn't know where to begin. I wasn't sure how to change the language inside my brain. I didn't know if it was even possible. But then, I realized something simple, something we all do without thinking. We all talk to ourselves, not out loud, but silently, in our minds. You do it too, even if you've never noticed it. When you wake up in the morning, your brain might say, 5 more minutes, or I need to get up now. When you spill something, maybe your brain says, oh no, what a mess. When you feel nervous before meeting someone, you might hear, I hope I don't say anything wrong. These are not big thoughts. They are small, quiet, fast thoughts. They happen all the time, like little whispers in your head. And here's the important thing. Those thoughts are usually in your first language. This was true for me too. Even after studying English for years, my inner voice was still speaking my own language. Every time I looked at my phone, or thought about dinner, or planned my day, my brain used my native words. I had English around me, in music, books, and videos, but inside my head, English was missing. That's when I understood why speaking English was still hard. I wasn't training my brain to live in English. I was only visiting it sometimes. So, the first small step I took was this. I started watching my thoughts. I didn't try to change them right away. I just paid attention to what language they were in. I listened to my inner voice, like looking in a mirror. I wanted to see the truth, not judge it. And every time I noticed a thought, I gently asked myself, can I say this in English instead? For example, one morning I thought, I'm tired. I want more sleep. But I said it in my language. So I paused and said again, in English this time, I am tired. I want more sleep. It felt small, almost silly. But it was important. I started doing this with many little thoughts. If I felt cold, I said in my mind, it's cold today. If I looked at my food, I said, this smells good. If I had to leave the house, I thought, I need my keys. Where are they? These were not complex sentences, just simple, daily thoughts. But the more I did this, the more natural it felt. At first, it was hard to remember. Sometimes I only noticed my thoughts after I had already said them in my language. But I didn't blame myself. I reminded myself that this is a new habit, like learning how to ride a bicycle, slow at first, but smoother with time. I didn't force myself to be perfect. I just tried to notice, and when I could, I switched the language. This is what I want to share with you today. Try to notice your thoughts. Just notice. That's the first step. You don't need to control everything. You don't need to think in English all day from the beginning. But try once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and again at night. Pick small moments. When you're washing your hands, say in your mind, I'm washing my hands. When you see the rain outside, say, it's raining. When you sit down to eat, think, this looks nice. Your brain might feel slow at first. That's okay. You're building a new path, like walking through a forest and making a new road with your feet. Every sentence you say in English, even inside your head, is one more step on that road. One day, I was walking in the park and I saw a cat. My brain said, that's a cute cat. But something special happened. I said it in English without trying. It just came. It felt like a little magic. I smiled to myself. It was working. Slowly, the language inside my head was changing. So today, I invite you to try this. Watch your thoughts. Listen to your inner voice like you're watching a mirror. And when you catch a thought in your native language, smile and gently try to say it again in English. Don't worry if it's simple. Don't worry if it's slow. The important thing is to stay inside English even for one sentence. Then 2, then 5. That's how it begins. Not with grammar rules, not with tests, but with one quiet thought at a time. Chapter 3. The Power of Silent Sentences. After I started watching my thoughts and gently turning them into English, I realized something very important. My brain was listening. Every time I made a little English sentence in my mind, even if it was short, my brain said, okay, I see what you're trying to do. And with each sentence, it got a little easier, a little faster. But now, I needed to go one step further. I had to train this new voice. I called them silent sentences. Short English thoughts I would say in my mind during the day. I didn't speak them out loud. I didn't write them down. I just thought them. Quietly. While I was doing normal things. One morning, I woke up and said in my mind, I am opening my eyes. The sun is bright today. When I stood up, I thought, my feet feel cold. I need my slippers. These were not big ideas. just normal things I was already thinking, but now in English. This was the beginning of a powerful habit. I started practicing silent sentences all day long. When I brushed my teeth, I said, "I am brushing my teeth. The water is cold. My toothpaste is minty." When I opened the window, I thought, "The air is fresh. I hear birds. The sky is blue." While I was eating, I said, "My coffee is hot. The toast is crunchy. I like the taste." I didn't need a classroom. I didn't need a teacher. All I needed was a moment, and my 5 senses. I started to use what I see, hear, smell, taste, and feel to build English sentences in my mind. I looked around and named things. "That's a chair, that's my bag. The curtain is moving." I closed my eyes and listened. "I hear a car. Someone is talking outside. It's quiet now." When I felt something, I said it. "My hands are cold. This blanket is soft. My shirt feels tight." If I tasted something new, I thought, "This is sweet. This is spicy. I don't like this flavor." These silent sentences were short and simple, but they were powerful. They were real. They were true. I wasn't just repeating grammar from a book. I was describing my life, and I was doing it in English. And something else happened, too. Sometimes I saw something and didn't know the English word. Like once I saw a dragonfly, but I didn't know how to say it. In my old habit, I would have thought it in my native language. But now, I stopped myself. I said, "That insect has wings. It flies fast. It's green and shiny." I didn't know the perfect word, but I stayed in English. And that was a big moment for me. I learned that I don't need perfect vocabulary to stay in English. I just need to stay inside the language. If I don't know the exact word, I can describe it. I can use other simple words. I can guess. I can make my way around it. The most important thing is this: don't jump back to your first language. Stay in English, even when it feels messy. This changed everything. My confidence started to grow. I was thinking in English more often. And even when I got stuck, I didn't panic. I just tried to explain things in a different way, like a child does when they don't know a word yet. They don't stop. They keep trying. One day, I was outside, and I saw something interesting, a bird sitting on a power line. I wanted to think, the bird is on the wire, but I forgot the word wire. My brain was about to switch to my language, but then I said, "No, stay in English." So I told myself, the bird is sitting on that black line. Maybe it's a cable. Maybe it's a rope. It wasn't perfect, but I didn't leave English. And in that moment, I felt strong, because that's when I knew I can live in English even without knowing everything. I don't need to wait until I'm fluent. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep thinking in silent sentences every day, all day, one small moment at a time. And that's what I want you to try next. Start now. Pick a moment. Look at something around you. Use your senses. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? Make one silent sentence in your mind. Just one. Then another. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about mistakes. Just stay in the English world. This is not about memorizing rules. This is about training your brain with real thoughts, silent thoughts, honest thoughts. And every time you do it, your brain learns a little more. English stops being a subject. It becomes your voice. So go ahead. Build your world with silent sentences. One little thought at a time, I promise you. This simple habit can lead to something big. Chapter 4. Speak to yourself, even if it's quiet. After I got used to thinking in English silently, I felt more comfortable. My thoughts started coming faster. Sometimes I would describe what I saw. Sometimes I would describe what I felt. But then something surprising happened. One day, while brushing my hair, I quietly said, "My hair is messy today. I need to wash it." I didn't plan it. The words just came out. Not loud, just a soft voice like a whisper. But the moment I heard my own voice in English, something changed inside me. It felt real. That little voice I heard in my head all this time, now it had a sound, and that sound was English. It felt like something strong and special. I realized that thinking in English was powerful, yes, but speaking in English, even softly, was a different kind of power. It was like turning on a light. So I started doing it on purpose. Whenever I was alone, I spoke softly to myself in English. Not loudly, just a quiet voice, like I was talking to a friend, but that friend was me. In the kitchen, I would say, "I'm making tea. The water is boiling. I'll add some ginger today." While folding my clothes, I said, "This is my favorite shirt. It still smells fresh. I wore it last Friday." When I cleaned my room, I whispered, "I should throw this paper away. I don't need it." At first it felt funny. I thought, am I being silly? Talking to myself? But then I reminded myself, this is not silly at all. This is brain training. This is what athletes do. They repeat moves again and again. They build muscle memory. And I was doing the same, but for English. Your mouth, your tongue, your brain, they all need practice together. Thinking silently is the first step, but speaking softly connects everything. It helps your brain and mouth become friends, and when you do it every day, slowly, your voice becomes stronger. Sometimes I made it more fun. I would pretend I was a YouTube host. I'd walk around my kitchen and say, "Hello, everyone. Welcome to my cooking show. Today I will make my special tea. First we need water, then ginger. Now we wait for the boil. Be patient." I smiled while doing this. I wasn't recording, but I felt like I was performing, and it helped so much. It made me speak longer. It made me explain things. It made me stay inside English. Another trick I used was fake conversations. I stood in front of the mirror and practiced like I was meeting someone. "Hi, my name is Scarlett. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too. What do you do?" "I'm a student. I love learning languages." "That's interesting. Why English?" "Because it opens the world for me." Sometimes I used hand gestures. Sometimes I smiled. I made the conversations feel real, even if I was the only one in the room. I asked myself questions. I answered them. It wasn't perfect. I forgot words sometimes. But I didn't stop. I just kept going. These small things, the whispering, the pretending, the fake talks, they helped me in a big way. Slowly, I started feeling less nervous. My voice didn't shake when I spoke. My words came out faster. I no longer had to plan each sentence in my head before speaking. My mouth started to know English. It remembered how to move. It trusted the brain. And here's something amazing. After a few weeks of doing this, one day I met someone who spoke English, and I responded, without thinking too much. My brain didn't pause. My mouth didn't wait. I just spoke. It wasn't perfect, but it flowed. That moment stayed with me. It showed me that all those quiet sentences, all those soft words I whispered to myself, were not small. They were everything. So today, I want you to try this. Start small. Speak softly to yourself while doing something simple. Washing dishes? Say, "These plates are dirty. I need soap. The water is warm." Picking out clothes? Whisper, "I want to wear something light. Maybe this blue shirt. It feels soft." Don't wait for someone to talk to you. Don't wait for a conversation. Create one. Make English your background music. Keep your voice gentle. No pressure. No stress. You're not doing a test. You're building a habit. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to feel shy. Just remember, this is not about performance. This is practice. This is play. And through play, we learn deeply. So speak to yourself, even if it's quiet. Let your voice become part of your English journey. Because when your thoughts and your voice start working together, fluency is no longer a dream. It becomes your daily life. Chapter 5. Making English Your Friend. After I had spent some time thinking in English and speaking to myself softly, something surprising started to happen. English stopped feeling like a subject from school. It stopped feeling like something I had to study. It began to feel like a friend, a quiet friend inside me. I don't know the exact day it happened. There was no big moment. But slowly, I started to notice something had changed. When I woke up, English was there. When I felt something, English gave me the words. When I was alone, English kept me company. It didn't feel like a task anymore. It felt like a relationship. And I started to like that feeling. At first, I thought learning English was just about rules, verbs, tenses, sentence structures. I thought I had to be perfect before I could feel confident. But now I was starting to see the truth. You don't need to be perfect to feel good about your English. You just need to feel connected to it, like a real friendship. Real friends don't ask you to be perfect. They listen, they support you, they stay with you, even when you make mistakes. And I started to treat English the same way. I stopped judging myself so much. If I forgot a word, I smiled. If I made a small grammar mistake, I let it go. I didn't let that mistake break me. I told myself, that's okay. I'm still growing. In the past, when I made a mistake, I would feel embarrassed. I would think, Oh no, I said that wrong. I must sound stupid. But now I was changing. Now I said, good try. Next time I'll say it better. And that small shift, that change in how I spoke to myself, made everything lighter. I realized something powerful. Confidence is not a reward you get after you speak perfect English. Confidence is a feeling you choose to grow, even with broken English. And that confidence starts when you stop fighting with yourself. So I made a decision. I told myself, Scarlett, English is your friend now. Be kind to it. Be kind to yourself. I stopped pushing. I stopped pressuring. I started enjoying my voice. Even the mistakes became part of the fun. When I forgot a word, I didn't feel bad. I laughed. I described it. I moved on. I also began creating a safe space in my mind, a place where I could speak English freely without fear. I didn't care about grammar. I didn't care about judgment. That space belonged to me. In that space, I could say anything. I am tired. I miss someone. I feel strong today. I didn't need to be correct. I just needed to be honest. And that's what made the difference. English became my diary, my thinking partner, my comfort zone, and it felt beautiful. I was no longer trying to become someone who speaks English. I already was that person. I just hadn't realized it before. Some nights, I lay in bed and spoke softly to myself. Today, I did something brave. I spoke in English at the store. I made a small mistake, but it was okay. I felt proud. These tiny moments built something big. They built a friendship between me and my English voice. If you're watching this now, I want you to ask yourself a question. Do I treat English like a friend or like a test? Because that answer matters. If you're always judging yourself, if you're always afraid to speak, it's like standing outside a house you want to live in, but never going inside. But if you speak with love, with patience, even if the sentences are broken, even if the words are simple, you are building a home inside that language. A home where you belong. You don't have to impress anyone. You don't need to sound like a native. You just need to sound like you. That is more than enough. So today I invite you to make English your friend. Say to yourself, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to stay close to English. I need to speak. I need to feel. I need to live in it. That is how you grow. That is how you become fluent, not just on the outside, but deep inside. And once you feel that connection, something magical happens. You stop feeling alone on your English journey, because now you have a voice beside you, a voice inside you, a voice that walks with you through every moment, every mistake, every victory. That voice is English, and it wants to be your friend. Chapter 6. Living Inside English. All day, every day. So far, you've learned how to change the way you think. You've started noticing your inner voice. You've practiced silent sentences. You've whispered to yourself. You've made English feel like a friend, not just a subject. And now we take the final step, the most beautiful step of all. It's time to live in English. What does that mean? It means English is not just something you do during study time. It's not just for homework or classes. It's not even just for watching videos like this one. It becomes the way you experience your world. Every moment, every place, every ordinary thing around you becomes part of your English journey. I call this the English lens. A lens is like a pair of glasses. It changes how you see. When you start living inside English, it's like wearing English glasses all day. Everything you see, hear, feel, or think, you try to describe it in English. Let me show you how it works. You're walking outside. Maybe you're going to the market or taking a bus. Instead of just walking in silence, you turn on your English lens. You think, the sky is gray today. It might rain. I see two boys playing with a ball. There is a woman carrying flowers. She looks happy. Now you're not just walking, you're learning. You're standing in line, maybe waiting at a shop. Most people pull out their phone or feel bored. But not you. You say in your mind, I am waiting in line. The person in front of me is buying milk. I think I'll get some apples. You're using time. You're training your brain, quietly, naturally, no extra effort. But every second, you are getting closer to fluency. Even small moments. Brushing your hair, feeding your pet, looking out the window. They all become English practice. You don't need a teacher. You don't need a partner. You just need your own mind. That's your biggest classroom. At night, before sleeping, you reflect on your day, but in English. I had a long day. I felt a little tired in the morning, but better in the afternoon. I spoke English with myself today. I think I'm improving. You start to hear your thoughts differently. You start to feel the language, not just memorize it, live it. And slowly, without even noticing when, something amazing happens. Your brain stops asking for your first language. You don't need to translate anymore. You don't switch between two languages. You stay inside one. You stay inside English. You don't just speak English. You start to think in English. And then you start to dream in English. You start to exist in English. This is the moment where everything changes, where English is no longer a task. It becomes part of who you are. You become someone who lives in English, not just visits it. And no, that doesn't mean you are perfect. It doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It doesn't mean you know every word. But it means you have stopped separating English from your life. You have accepted it as your second home. It is inside you now. That's the real meaning of fluency. It's not fast speaking. It's not using big words. It's being comfortable inside the language, feeling at home in it, letting your mind flow with it, without fear, without shame. So what can you do from here? Keep your English lens on. Wherever you are, at home, on the street, at work, or sitting quietly. Try to describe the world around you. Try to explain your feelings. Try to talk to yourself, not loudly, not perfectly, just gently, just honestly. You don't need to wait for the right time to practice English. The right time is always now. This is your life, and English is now part of it. So walk in it, speak in it, think in it, live in it. And when you do, your brain will follow. It will stop translating. It will stop doubting. It will stop hesitating, because now It will believe this is my language too. If this video helped you feel closer to English, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Tell me in the comments, when did you first feel like English could be part of your real life? I'd love to hear your story. And remember, your journey doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Keep going. I'm here with you.